DC എന്നൊരു വ്യക്തി നമ്മുടെ ഇടയിൽ ജീവിച്ചിരുന്നില്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മുടെ
If a man named DC had not been there, our cultural scene would have been too pathetic. Books have played an important role in shaping the high intellectual level of an average Malayali. So is the literature that molded our culture. Thousands of literary works that revolutionized the thoughts of a Malayali, as stories, essays and poems. The world may not have seen such a popular book production that had so deep a base on the minds of the common man. Each Malayali and the language will cherish that name for years to come. A name that was in deep love with alphabets. DC. DC Kirkemuri.
ചെറുപ്പത്തിലെ ഞാൻ അപ്പനെയും അമ്മയെയും വിട്ട് വല്യപ്പന്റെയും
In my childhood, I lived mostly with my grandparents than with my father and mother. It was because of their compulsion. An occupation as a teacher was waiting for me. Soon after my school leaving examination, straight away I went to that school and took up the job. It was a school in Pala. After 1 year, I went to Changanasheri for teachers training. There also I had to spend another year. I spent a total span of 10 years in Kanyarpalli school. After which, at about the time of quit India in 1942, I resigned from the job.
1942 ക്വിറ്റ് ഇന്ത്യ സമരത്തോട് അടുത്ത് ഞാൻ ഉദ്യോഗം രാജിവെക്കുകയാണ് ചെയ്തത്.
Dominic Chaco, better known as DC, was born on January 12, 1914, at Kanyarpalli of Kottayam district. He was the pioneer of the National Bookstall and Sahitya Pravartaka Cooperative Society that revolutionized the literary concepts of a Malayali. At present, DC Books is covering its 50 years of publication.
എന്നെ കാണാൻ കൃഷി സ്ഥലത്തെത്തിയത് അദ്ദേഹം കോട്ടയത്ത്.
It was then that Punkundam Varki came to see me at my field. He told me that we should start a bookshop at Kottayam. I had my deep contacts with books then. In 1936, I had tried to start a good library at Kanyarpalli with the leadership of KJ Thomas. I was the next man behind him. The library soon flourished with so many books and periodicals, and it was a real success. So when a great writer like Pongundam Varki came with such an idea of opening a bookshop, I did not have to think much about the proposal. I said okay. I sought the help of KJ Thomas and some other friends, and we started National Bookstall at Kalarikal Bazaar of Kottayam district on January 1945. Many writers who went to the limelight later were publishing their own books and selling them by directly approaching houses and shops. DC was trying to collect books published by Kamalalaya, BV Book Depot, Sri Rama Vilasam and Madhubhumi, and sell it by storing them together at one place. That plan worked. National Bookstall began to be known wherever there was a Keralite. I don't think that a single man other than D.C. Kerkemuri has contributed this much of successful effort to the realm of publications, in India or in the world. In 1945, the Sahitya Pravartika Cooperative Society was formed with the leadership of Karur Neelaganda Pillai. It can be called as the first cooperative society of the writers in the world, and there were 5 initial members: Karur, MP Paul, Narayana Dev, Sridharan Pillai and DC. After Karur retired in 1965, DC became the secretary of the Sangam. The society was founded by a capital of 120 rupees. Their first book was the stories of Thagari Shivashankara Pillai. The main aims of the society were giving financial stability to the writers and books for the readers at an average low price. DC made that possible. The society soon achieved global attention as they had given up to 30% royalty to the writers. The popularity of DC also soared high with the society. A group who began to fear this fame lost their interest on DC. Soon the discontents grew. In September 1970, the committee presided by Punkundam Varki suspended DC from Sahitya Pravartika Cooperative Society.
എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലായ ഒരു കാര്യം DC
Things as I understood. DC was gentle.
അവനെ
He had many abilities. But I don't know. Somehow, a bad consciousness grew between us. I'm sorry to say such things right now. I suspended DC from the total scenario of our cooperative society. I don't know what DC would have felt right then. He must have worried a lot. A kind of competition followed, in which nobody lost or gained anything. Anyway, DC was shocked by the break that happened to the 25 years of his deep relationship with the society. The Inquiry Commission soon freed DC from all allegations. DC returned to the society in 1972 and retired by the end of that year. With a complicated mind and a retirement allowance of 7,500 rupees, he went out of the house of SPCS. After the retirement and before the beginning of DC books, I faced a kind of deep confusion about my future plans. It lasted for about 8 months. One of the plans that I then figured was fish marketing. Thinking about fish marketing can be seemingly paradoxical for such a strict vegetarian as me. But even then, I had many plans. Like in publication of books, you can apply many novelties in fish marketing also. Then I thought about timber factory or doing agriculture in Kuttanad It was then that Thagari saw me and advised that I should not leave the realm of books, that they needed me so much in the field. When DC began DC Books on April 30th, 1975, the only capital that he had was his fame and his good relationship with writers. Soon, DC Books took birth in this press worth rupees 7,500. The beginning of a majestic firm that has 6 crores of annual turnover today. We first published a dictionary by Mr. Ramalingam Pillai, a dictionary on phrases. It was the beginning. Actually, we were not in a financial position to publish such a book then. Even now, I don't know how I managed it.
പുസ്തകപ്രസാധനം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നടത്താനോ വിജയിപ്പിക്കാനോ ഒരു വളരെ എളുപ്പമുള്ള കാര്യമല്ല.
It is not easy to start and maintain a publishing firm, especially on these days, when a majority of people are averse to books and reading. In such an age, it was DC who made books a desirable commodity. That is, the people began to read and began to think that books are something essential to their day-to-day life, and they started buying books for themselves, for their children, and perhaps for their friends and neighbors. Even though a busy publisher, DC also was a famous columnist and satirist on leading periodical. His first book was a collection of essays that criticized the rule of Diwan during the British Raj. In 1947, DC came out of jail and began writing a column in C.M. Stephen's Powder Prabha.
DC എന്നൊരു വ്യക്തി നമ്മുടെ ഇടയിൽ ജീവിച്ചിരുന്നില്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മുടെ
If a man named DC had not been there, our cultural scene would have been too pathetic.
ഈ കാലഘട്ടത്തിൽ
In these times, I cannot say the same about anyone else other than DC. From his early teenage, DC was an activist of Students' Congress. Before the beginning of State Congress in 1936, he became a member in the National Congress. At that time, at NSS in Kalarikal Bazaar, political leaders like Kumbalathu Shangupillai, C. Keshavan and Akamacharian were his daily visitors. The police of Diwan arrested DC, accusing him for encouraging the strikers. He spent 6 months in Pujapura Central Jail.
മാത്രമുണ്ടായിരുന്ന ഒരു വാർഡിലാണ് കഴിച്ചു കൂട്ടിയത്. തടങ്കൽ തടവുകാർക്കുള്ള പ്രത്യേക
In Pujapura Central Jail in 1946-47, we were jailed in a ward where we 16 persons were the only prisoners. It was a kind of special ward. Everybody was given a room and other necessary facilities. The food also was very good, many times better than that of a C-class prisoner. I was given the charge of food, so Kumbalat Shangupillai usually called me the food minister. We were a team of 16, including C. Keshavan, Kumbalat Shangupillai, Pongundam Varki and K.M. Chandi. He was an outstanding genius in the world of publishing, and there was nobody to surpass him. not alone in Kerala, but in India also. When I was in NBT, I had known his reputation in the national level. When we planned a prize for publishers, DC's name came out unanimously. But later, there was no government approval for the prize, and this could not be given to DC. Let it be. But why was DC's name so unanimously chosen? Because of his wonderful personality. Even if you hate him, he will love you in return.
ഒരു സ്നേഹത്തിൻ്റെ വശ്യതയുള്ള ആളാണ്. നിങ്ങൾ എത്രമാത്രം അങ്ങോട്ട് പ്രതികാരം ചെയ്താലും DC പ്രതികാരം ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഉപകാരത്തിലൂടെയാണ്.
DC was also one among those who founded Kerala Grandashala Sangam. For 60 years, his presence and influence was magnificent. DC struggled for exempting books from sale tax and won. Chief Minister A.J. John of Travancore Kochi district exempted books from sales tax. It was then followed by Jawaharlal Nehru, who spread the rule all over India. B.N. Panikar is the main strength behind Kerala Grandashala Sangam. When he was the secretary of Ambalapura Library, he tried to assemble those who were working behind some 100 libraries of Travancore. About 47 persons assembled together, and it was then that Kerala Grandashala Sangam, then known as Travancore Grandashala Sangam, was inaugurated. It was in September 1945. Then the Sangam spread and numbered more than 5,000 libraries.
DCയുടെ വ്യക്തിത്വത്തിന്റെ ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട മുഖമായി കാണുവാൻ കഴിയുന്നതും
One of the main characteristics of DC is that he always encouraged talented youth in every field.
അത് ഏത് മേഖലയിലായാലും പ്രോത്സാഹിപ്പിക്കുക.
Kesri Balakrishna Pillai, a former generation, has done the same before. It was in the 1950s that DC and Vaikom Mohammad Bashir began their friendship. For many days, Bepur Sultan stayed at the 10th room of Kottayam YMCA. It was a room of DC.
YMCA ജീവിതം വളരെ രസകരമായിരുന്നു എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ
When I say that my life at YMCA was very pleasant, I remember Bashir, Vaikom Mohammad Bashir.
അതുപോലെ
C.J. Thomas, Bashir, Ponyikara Rafi, and for some time, Ayyappa Panikar.
ഒക്കെ YMCA
We all stayed together for a little time.
അന്ന് രാത്രി ചിലപ്പോൾ
We would be spending the night together in my room at YMCA.
അവിടുത്തെ
The room number was 10.
നമ്പർ കൂടിയാണ്. അതിന്
Soon, some began saying the room as number 10 Downing Street.
ആളുകൾ പറയാനും തുടങ്ങി.
We,
അങ്ങനെ അവിടെ
that is CJ, Ponyikara Rafi, and Bashir, would spend the whole night talking about literature.
ചിലപ്പോൾ രാത്രി 12 മണിക്ക് അപ്പുറത്തേക്കും അങ്ങ് നീങ്ങും.
Bashir received the royalty of his books as monthly salary. More truly, they were inseparable friends than a writer and publisher.
അദ്ദേഹവും ഞാനുമായി ഒരു 40 വർഷത്തിലധികം വളരെ അടുത്ത ബന്ധമുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. YMCA ഞങ്ങൾ ഒന്നിച്ച്
We had about 40 years of very deep, sincere friendship. We stayed together in YMCA, and I used to visit his house at Thaliyolaparamba.
കോഴിക്കോട്ട് താമസം തുടങ്ങിയിട്ട് അതിനിടയ്ക്ക് ബഷീർ
Some 35 years ago, he shifted his house to Bepur.
തന്നെ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. ബേപ്പൂരിൽ നിന്ന്.
After that, he came to Travancore only thrice.
ഒന്ന് എൻ്റെ കല്യാണം,
One was for my wedding,
ഒന്ന് എൻ്റെ മകളുടെ
one was for my daughter's wedding, and another occasion was one of our meetings. So there is no more evidence needed to show how deep our relationship was. DC married only at a later stage of his life, perhaps because of his love affair with books. Another cause was a real love that didn't materialize.
അന്ന് എനിക്ക് കഷ്ടിച്ച് 20 വയസ്സേ കാണുള്ളൂ. ഞങ്ങളുടെ അയൽവക്കത്തെ ഒരു പെൺകുട്ടിയുമായി
I was nearing my 20s.
സ്നേഹത്തിലായി.
I fell in love with a neighboring girl.
കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ കല്യാണം
After some time, we decided to marry.
പക്ഷേ അവളുടെ
But the financial status of our family was higher than mine,
എന്റേതിനെ അപേക്ഷിച്ച് വളരെ ഉയർന്നതായിരുന്നുകൊണ്ട്
so her family disagreed.
അങ്ങനെ ഞങ്ങൾ
And we decided to be good friends.
സുഹൃത്തുക്കളായിട്ട്
My marriage took place
നീണ്ടകാലം
30 years after that affair.
കല്യാണം കഴിച്ച ഒരു 30 വർഷം കൂടെ കഴിഞ്ഞു.
Though she was staying some 300 or 400 kilometers away at that time,
അമ്മ
I and my wife used to go to her house.
എന്നിട്ട് ഞങ്ങൾ ഒരുമിച്ച് അവിടെ പോകും. അവിടെ എന്ത്
They also came at my residence for some occasions. This kind of visits have happened many times.
ഒരു കഥയാണത്.
DC's family comprises of his wife Pannamma and daughters Tara, Meera, son Ravi and daughter-in-law Garima.
അപ്പായിക്ക് ഇപ്പോൾ 84 വയസ്സായി. പക്ഷേ
My father had many friends ranging from the age of 10 to his own age, that is 84 or 85. His life was very systematical and it really was a good model for me. He was my father and also my mentor. This renaissance in culture and politics, who came through many struggles and fluctuations of book publishing, leads us to knowledge and better consciousness.
ഇന്ന് വരെ കറുത്ത പാട് വീഴാത്ത ഒരു സുഹൃത്തുബന്ധം എനിക്കുണ്ട്. അത് DC കിഴക്കേ ഉറിയുമാണ്.
We had maintained such a good relationship. Till his death, we never had chance to quarrel about a single little thing. He might have been in his 20s when I first met him. I remember his coming at Ambalapura when I was working as an advocate. He maintained his dignity in everything till his death. This is history. Man who silently led the revolution of the alphabet. This century of a Malayali is also that of DC, a symphony of alphabets.